there, it is Tuesday, August 4th, and welcome to this edition of Bitcoin Brief. We have Tone Vays, our Bitcoin educator, as well as consultant and trader. We have Jimmy Song, our resident guru on all things tech, our Bitcoin programmer, and I'm Christine, your host and journalist in New York. We've got a crazy, tragic day today in Lebanon where there was a massive explosion, almost 80 people dead, thousands injured. The finance minister of Lebanon also resigning just a day ago. Crazy developments. Nevertheless, in the markets, we see it chugging along, rising for another day on the Dow Jones, S&P, and NASDAQ advancing for the 5th straight consecutive session. How are things in your end, Tone?
Pretty good. Yeah. Do we even know what the hell happened in Lebanon? Like everyone is just guessing on what the hell went down there. Anywhere from missiles to fireworks factory. Like I've never seen so many random ideas as to what the hell happened.
No idea. No idea. Speculation is terrorism. Nevertheless, how are things going on with you, Jimmy?
Well, nothing as exciting as Beirut, that's for sure. But yeah, I mean, that reminds me of how pretty much everything since March is all speculation. And it's based on very poor data that everyone speculates on and kind of gets freaked out about.
Yeah. Well, Seyfedin was living over there for a while, but he got out a little while ago.
Yeah, he lives in Canada now, so I think he's fine.
Yeah, their whole financial system is going down the toilet as well. And there are a lot of people investing in Bitcoin now because they can't trust their currency in Lebanon. So it's a crazy year.
I'd say.
Yeah. Well, let's take a look at some of the headlines in Bitcoin. I'm going to start sharing my screen here. And one of the headlines that caught our eye was Ripple. Ripple snaps XRP sales slump with 33 million of the crypto sold in the second quarter. Ripple said Monday that it sold 32.5 million of its XRP cryptocurrency during the second quarter of this year, a 60% jump over first quarter's abysmal sales figures and the first signs of XRP sales growth in nearly a year. In its second quarter markets report released Monday, Ripple reported a surge in over-the-counter XRP sales as it reaped the benefits of new liquidity, providing integrations with Telco, Swisscom blockchain, swap execution facility, Zero Hash, and the crypto bank Signum. Programmatic sales, the third-party trading practice whose mid-third quarter 2019 halt contributed to 3 consecutive quarters of falling XRP sales, will remain paused as Ripple focuses on over-the-counter markets, the issuer said. XRP volume did not fare well as sales figures in the second quarter. Average daily volume fell to 196 million from the first quarter's 322 million. And then we want to see this next article. Ripple co-founder is selling almost 2 million XRP per day, according to crypto monitor Whale Alert. Ripple co-founder Jed McCaleb is now selling an average of 1,740,000 XRP per day, according to the crypto tracker Whale Alert. The daily total, which is a 266% increase from 2019, was worth about $550,000 at the time of writing, according to CoinMarketCap. McCaleb served as Ripple's chief technical officer before leaving in 2013 and launching the open source money platform Stellar the following year. While he still holds a large personal trove of XRP, he can only sell limited amounts according to the terms of a legal settlement with Ripple. Whale Alert estimates McCaleb sold around 630 million XRP this year and still holds about 4 billion. The company later accused McCaleb of violating that. Since the agreement, Ripple routinely transfers XRP from a settlement wallet in McCaleb's wallet. Each month, McCaleb's addresses can be tracked online. Tone, what's going on here?
Well, this is a very clear example of, well, a double example of why these shitcoins get created. Ripple's business model is selling the XRP token. That's it. That's the business model. They still have about 60 billion of these tokens. It's slowly decreasing. And they have a lot of runway. And as long as bag holders are buying these Ripple tokens, Ripple, the company, will have a lot of money to buy political influence. This is basically how it works. The XRP token has absolutely no reason to exist other than making the founders of Ripple rich. And that second article with Jed McCaleb is an example of that. Jed McCaleb, so Ripple, the company, existed before Bitcoin did. But Jed McCaleb, fresh on scamming Mark Karpeles by selling him Mt. Gox with 80,000 missing Bitcoin, shows up at the Ripple Corporation and basically convinces them to just create 100 billion tokens out of thin air. And he got, I don't know, 5 or 10% of that for himself. And then when he started selling them and he had a big fallout with the Ripple company, they ended up in a lawsuit. And that's why he's only able to sell up to 2 million Ripple tokens a day today, because they put a stop on that. So what did he do? He went and created another shitcoin called Stellar so that nobody can tell him how much of the coin he can sell for his own personal private benefit. So the guy is clearly a billionaire. And as long as dumb people continue to buy these useless shitcoins, people like Jed McCaleb will continue to get perpetually rich. Companies like Ripple will continue to buy political influence. And these companies are basically a plague. I'll let Jimmy take over from here.
Yeah, Ripple is an interesting thing, and Jed McCaleb is also an interesting character. If he had any integrity at all, he would use all of the Ripple that he sold to make all the Mt. Gox people whole. But of course, he's not going to do that because he's a scammer. He's an idiot. Well, not an idiot. He's actually quite smart, but he's got no morals whatsoever. He's just an evil.
Oh, he's person. Incredibly smart, man. I mean, Karpeles is doing time in prison, and McCaleb is like selling $500,000 worth of Ripple every day. Like,
which is crazy, right? Like
beyond,
he's making
insanity.
He's making 150. I mean, you do the math over a year, and he's making like $180 million this year just off of the Ripple that he can sell. And then he's got XLM, who knows how much Bitcoin he has and what he sold Mt. Gox for and so on. But I mean, this guy is, there are other people in other altcoins that have made a lot of money, but this guy's at another level because he's able to have basically the third biggest crypto, according to CoinMarketCap, a large amount of the supply, and he's been able to do it for a very long time. So he's made a tremendous amount of money, and somehow he continues to get away with it. If there is justice in the world, this guy will see time in prison at some point. But I somehow I doubt that's going to happen in this kind of environment. That said, all of this is what Tona said is exactly correct, right? Like he's dumping on retail. He's dumping on people that really don't know any better, and in a sense, it's partly their fault, but it's also his idiots, his immorality that led them to that point. He created this currency, Ripple and so on, and it's just kind of a it's had repercussions that we're still feeling, and I think we'll be feeling the repercussions for many years to come. And it's really, Bitcoin that suffers because, people get confused. They think XRP is actually something. It hinders Bitcoin adoption and so on. So many bad things. That said, I try to keep him out of my mind because he's got to be one of the richest, just immoral, wicked people that this space has ever seen.
And so we have to kind of be careful what we say because it's not good to piss off a multi-billionaire, especially one with no ethics or morals. So it's not exactly ideal to do something like that. But I'll mention one more thing on Ripple. Because of these bag holders pumping the price of Ripple, I mean, if these, I'm not really sure why these sales aren't dumping the price. I guess there's enough bag holders out there that believe in this stuff. That guy that was a former hedge fund manager and former Goldman guy said he's like going all in. And look, Ripple, the company, can sell, tens of billions of dollars worth of this Ripple token. So it's possible they have the cash to buy like major banks. But what does that mean? I mean, Ripple is a centralized security token. Eventually, they're going to run out of it, right? So
yeah, eventually. But in the meantime, what they're doing is completely subsidizing entire industries like the remittance from Mexico to the U.S. and making it seem like XRP is being used. They're being very smart with their cash, although like hiring Snoop Dogg to do their party at Consensus is quite kind of questionable. But this is what you can do when you have oodles of cash. Is you can donate $4 million to Ellen DeGeneres' charity, so you appear on that show and seem like a totally legit thing, when in fact they're completely illegitimate and it's a complete scam. And I mean that's kind of how it works. Is they printed their own money, they bribe whoever they need to, and that's this is the way they can keep going.
Ripple is a institutional darling in the banking world, or at least that's what they have tried to be. But it certainly doesn't look good that one of their co-founders is selling, I don't know, but 500,000 XRP per day. But then again, it's a drop in the bucket to the 4 billion that he supposedly has. Any thoughts on that?
He'll be selling it every day for like the next 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, at this rate, like he can sell 1.74 million XRP. So it's gonna last quite a long time. Even 1,000 days of that is only 1.74 billion, and that's only like a third of his stash. So yeah, it's going to take a long time. So it's
yeah. Well, we can see his wallets are available online to watch, so we'll see how that slowly drains out. Our next story, we're heading to Russia. Russian voters' data on sale after blockchain poll to keep Putin in power. According to a report, hackers are reportedly selling the personal data of over 1 million Russians who voted electronically using blockchain technology during the recent constitutional amendment process. Over 1 million data points were stolen and put on sale for $1.50 each on the online forums, the Russian newspaper Kommersant wrote. The data, consisting exclusively of passport numbers, has little value on its own, the anonymous sellers admitted to Kommersant, but such data can be used for phishing attacks when combined with information from other leaked databases. Moscow's Department of Information Technologies, which is responsible for the design of the voting system, denied the report in an email to CoinDesk. The department is regularly monitoring the internet for publications of such data, including the darknet. The database mentioned in the publication has nothing to do with the list of voters who registered to vote online, according to the department's press office. The online voting was a part of nationwide voting dedicated to the amendments to the Russian constitution, which, among other things, eliminated the 2-term restrictions for presidents, effectively allowing Vladimir Putin to stay in power longer. The online voting system, based on Bitfury's open source Exonym blockchain and built with the help of Kaspersky Lab, was previously reported to have poor data protection. Journalists were able to decrypt people's votes as well as pull passport numbers out of a weakly protected file posted online by the authorities, according to a Russian media outlet, Meduza wrote. The voting took part during the last week of June and ended July 1st, both online and at the physical polling stations. Municipal authorities employees were forced to vote electronically, according to the BBC. And it goes on. Hey, Jimmy, so technically speaking, what happened here? How did they accomplish this? And what are they going to do with this data?
Well, so if you're going to do some sort of voting and you're going to put it on a blockchain, and really what a blockchain means in this context is a database that's public, you have to encrypt the data. Otherwise, there's no privacy whatsoever. Everyone's going to see that you voted against the amendment or something and might get in trouble with the Russian government, blah, blah, blah. But you know, it's this is the stupidity of quote unquote blockchain technology, is that it's really like completely open to everybody, so you can quote unquote check it, but it's no good unless you can actually verify it. But you know, that means that you have to encrypt it and have some zero knowledge proofs and so on. Obviously, it wasn't secured very well because you know journalists were able to decrypt the thing and figure out who voted for whom, and people's different passport numbers, which I guess acts as a national ID. But this is exactly what you should expect when you have a database leak, and it's not even like a hacker that did it. It's open to the public, and if you can decrypt it, of course, you know, the data, like there's no law, or I don't know, it would be kind of a weird law to say here's the public thing, but you're not allowed to do anything with it. And basically that's what someone did, and this is so ridiculous in so many ways. And electronic voting has just so many problems, including the fact that you could, like, for all intents and purposes, you could probably sell your vote if you wanted to, and no one would be the wiser, because you know, as long as you know somebody like it looks like you voted, no one's going to be able to tell that it was somebody else that did. Or you know, even more evilly, somebody can go and take all of these passport numbers and be able to vote in the next election or something like that. I'm sure they have other protections besides that, maybe a password or something. But it's just so ridiculous. And you know, this is a warning to all of those governments that are looking into quote unquote blockchain technology to fix all sorts of problems. This kind of cluster that you can look forward to.
Yeah, I just want to mention all the way at the bottom of this article, Russia is planning to expand the practice of online voting despite the issues mentioned above. Previous blockchain voting experiment by Moscow, which took place in the fall of 2019, used the Ethereum blockchain and also turned out to have weak security. Tone, do you want to jump in on that?
Yeah, so over the years on this show and World Crypto Network, I kept, you know, trying to make the argument that maybe there is a place for voting involving a blockchain, and Jimmy keeps shutting it down every time. And over the last year, I have completely started to agree with Jimmy on this one. There is absolutely no place for a blockchain in the world of voting. It is completely stupid. It really makes absolutely no sense. So sure, it goes right there with the last Russia article that we covered. So they want to completely, they're hating on Bitcoin, which is dumb, but then they're doubling down on the stupid and want to do blockchain voting. Blockchain voting is probably even easier to manipulate and corrupt than government regulated centralized voting. So I'm not surprised that countries would be interested in blockchain voting, because you can, like, still fake the data going into the blockchain, and then it's in the blockchain, everybody can see it, and therefore it's in a blockchain, therefore it's true. So the blockchain voting ideas, and the companies keep trying to do it. They keep trying to do it, and I understand why these companies are trying to come up with blockchain voting, because it's a job. It's a government contract, to build a stupid system that even gets hacked and leaks information. And the government just wants to give them more money to build it more. And if your blockchain voting project has a shitcoin token with it, now because you have to pay in its own token to make the vote, or it somehow uses an internal token, now you make even more money by printing your own money with a government contract. So it's very, very lucrative to build a blockchain voting system, when in reality, it makes absolutely no sense at all.
What about mail-in voting? Because this is similar in the sense that, it goes to you directly. You're supposed to, send it out, mail it. Is there a similarity between that and blockchain voting, or completely different?
All right, let me just say it this way. Voting is mostly a scam. The thing is, like, this libertarian view, I know, but like it's a scam. It's to make you feel like you've participated in a process in which you have absolutely zero voice. Fact of the matter is, there's tons of people that cheat. There's a lot of manipulation going on all over the place, and whether or not you think your vote actually counts is kind of immaterial anyway, because ultimately the actual people that control things are, it's a private entity. It's the Federal Reserve, it's the central banks, and so on. They're the ones that really control things. So
I gotta disagree with you here. If voting was a scam, Trump would have never gotten elected, right? So voting, there is, some reason to the madness there, right? So, like, there's no way Trump would have got elected if voting was a total scam. So it's not a
I still think it's a scam. I don't know, maybe it's not a total scam, maybe, but it's very scammy in the sense that it gives you it gives you the illusion that you have some control over the thing, over the governance of the country and things like that, when in actuality you have very little, if at all, nothing, in fact,
I think
unless
that's a
you happen to be in the
between
halls of power.
That's a distinction between democracy and voting. I mean, voting in a democracy gives you that once every 4 years, gives you the illusion of some sort of participation in government.
Yeah, I mean, this is representative democracy, you're right, and it's a scam, man. I'm telling you, I'm an anarcho-capitalist libertarian for a reason, and I stopped voting in large part because I know it's kind of a futile, useless exercise, and it just encourages those in power and makes them think that they're legitimate when in fact they're not.
Okay, but I actually see a similarity between this idea of blockchain voting and something like mail-in voting. I mean, in each case, how do you know the person who's writing in the mail-in vote is the person purported to have mailed it in? And same could be said of a blockchain system. Maybe there could be some sort of KYC element in there, but
yeah, I mean, you're right? Like that's the big thing, is that there is a large amount of cheating possible when you have these things where the person doesn't actually have to show up, and that's a big problem. And this is, this has happened throughout history with lots of votes, is people cheat, and usually those get suppressed or whatever, or it was 100 years ago. No, it's more like 50 years ago, and that probably happened 30 years ago, and 20 years ago, and 10 years ago, and 5 years ago. Cheat, that's just human nature. If you think you can get away with it and you can get what you want, then people are going to cheat. And I'm sure there are people that cheat with mail-in ballots, lots of blockchain ballots, whatever. I mean, whatever laws there are against it, if you think you can get away with it, a lot of people are just going to do it.
All right. Let's head on over to the next topic. We have Charlie Lee, Adam Back lead 3.1 million private token raise for blockchain game Infinite Fleet. So online space strategy game Infinite Fleet, developed by Pixelmatic, has raised 3.1 million through private security token offering, STO. Announced Friday, that round can be broken into two parts, with 2.75 million raised via simple agreements for future tokens. This portion of the funding was led by Litecoin creator Charlie Lee, Blockstream CEO Adam Back, Heisenberg Capital founder Max Kaiser, and others. And a smaller 250,000 portion of the total 3.1 million raised was allocated to investors on investment platform BNK to the Future. Pixelmatic was founded by its chief executive, Samson Mao, who is also CSO at Bitcoin infrastructure firm Blockstream. The SAFT funding brings rights to investors once the token has been created at a future date. A public sale of the firm's token is expected in September via securities tokenization platform Liquid Securities, still in development, in a partnership with digital marketplace Stoker. Mao told CoinDesk that STOs would become a route most projects follow in the future. The project had planned to raise $3 million and was oversubscribed by 100,000 over a 24-hour sale period, according to the announcement. The Humans versus Aliens space MMO game, which will use a digital token to drive its in-game economy. The game has been developed by a team of game designers who've worked on franchises like Age of Empires, Homeworld, Company of Heroes, and Dawn of War. All right, Tone, jump in here. You see this next, we don't have ICOs anymore, but we're starting to see ICOs pop their head. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so I haven't looked at the fine print on this offering, but we wanted to throw the story out there mostly because, like, so I don't even know how I feel about this. I'm going to try to rationalize my thoughts here. So all these guys are being chewed out by Tizen, who who's basically keeps track of every Bitcoin, every shitcoin minimalist like myself. And every time they stick, a toe into the shitcoin world, he goes out of his way to really chew them out. I'm one of the few that he hasn't done that yet too. So look, I'm not happy that I'm back is involved in this. Let Charlie Lee and let others, buy into this stuff. Now, there's two things here. So I have no idea how Samson has time for all of this. I can barely keep up with this YouTube channel. But he's apparently CEO of another company while still working at Blockstream. And so unlike the last token he was involved in, INX, at least this one is on Liquid. So off the bat, it's being created on a secure blockchain and not Ethereum. So at least the underlying technology is solid. So I'll give them that. So that Hippocratic player kind of is not relevant here. If you scroll down a little bit, the article mentions Sept, the Simple Agreement for Future Tokens, which was something that was created by Marco Santori while he was at, Pillsbury? I forgot the law firm. And Sept is under serious attack because it basically opened up the door for all these scams. Sept is what was used to create all of these ICOs. Now, later on in this bulletin, like I said, this is all we have to go by. I have not dug further into it. If you scroll down a little bit further, it mentions STO. So that stands for Security Token Offering. So it looks like this is being offered as a security. Now, the process to get SEC approval is kind of insane. Blockstack did it, and INX was trying to do it, but I don't know if they ever got that far. So I don't know how far down the regulation they're going. Now, it's possible they're not looking for US approved regulation. Now, Adam Back's not a US citizen. I believe Max Kaiser is, but he might be a UK citizen. I'm not sure. And Samson is Canadian, and which I believe that's his residency. And Charlie Lee, I'm not sure if he's a US citizen or not. So it's possible none of these guys are US citizens. So it's possible that none of the initial investors are US citizens, and this is not being tailored to US citizens. But these are very popular people, all with ties in the US because they all live here. So this is interesting how this is not geared to US citizens, but it's going to come down to the following. Here's what it's going to come down to. Will this token be openly traded on shitcoin exchanges? And if the answer is yes, then I am totally against it, and I am very unhappy that Adam Back's involved. The other guys, I don't really care. But Adam Back would be very disappointing. If this thing hits, I don't know, what are the shitcoin exchanges these days, Jimmy?
Binance, that's the main one.
Which one?
Binance.
Okay. So if this hits Binance, that's a big problem for me, because that's basically, you know, a speculation casino that people can register on anonymously and trade this shitcoin. Now, now the other thing that it's gonna come down to is, does an in-game token make sense? Okay. So, you know, where Warcraft started with Warcraft Gold. I mean, I never played those games, so I don't know how it works. So this space game apparently needs its own money in the game. But I still don't understand why exactly that money needs to be security. So once again, we have a utility token problem. So we are selling this token as a security. That's what the STO stands for. And this token is going to be used in the game. I'm pretty sure Adam Back and Max Kaiser are not going to be playing this game. So I have this major conflict with these projects. Now, if it's an in-game currency, why the hell is it also a security? So look, the regulation could be on their side. This project does not make me feel very comfortable with how it's being structured. Just think about it, right? It's a game. It could be a game for adults. It may or may not need its own functioning currency within the game to buy ships, you know, buy weapons, whatever, you know, buy planets, buy governments on those planets. Who the hell knows, right? But why is it also a security? And I
think I can shed a little bit of light on this, because sure. I did talk to Samson about this a while back. Can I jump in? Is it okay if I go, Tone?
Oh no, you go. I'm kind of repeating myself at this point. Yeah, please.
Yeah. Christine looks frozen, by the way. Oh, okay, she's not anymore. All right, so here's what's going on. This is a security token offering. That means that you are getting equity in this business. You are not getting a utility token. You are getting a share of the business. So in a way, what this is it's kind of like a normal investment round that you would do with any venture capital firm or with angel investors or something like that, where they get a portion of your company in exchange for some money. And that's what they raised, was $3 million in a security token offering. Now, the thing about security tokens is that they don't get listed in exchanges like Binance. In fact, it's actually very hard to get them listed anywhere. I know this because Blockchain Capital did a security token offering for its Fund 3, and it's still kind of iffy where it can get listed and so on. And a lot of people have been asking, hey, how do we do that? And I'm not sure how that resolved. But this is one of the things about security tokens, is that they don't have sort of the marketplace that ICOs do, because of the restrictions that come with being securities. Is that you can't just go list them on Binance. That you have to make sure that whoever is buying is a qualified investor and so on. So that's what this is. Also, Samson Mao, before he got into Bitcoin, was a video games CEO, and this is something that he's sort of combining here and trying a new model to raise money like this. It's a startup basically, and he's doing it for a particular game, in this case Infinite Fleet, and I don't know how how good the game's going to be or what the plot's going to be about, but I'm sure you've seen on Kickstarter various video games where they raise money. This isn't quite like that, because you are getting equity in the company as a result of buying this token. The only thing is you have to be a qualified investor, and there's no utility to the token. Now, the other token that it's talking about, MMO game will use a digital token to drive its in-game economy. That is going to be actually on Liquid. The security token is going to be on something else called Liquid Securities, and that's still in development, like this article says. So that's a platform that hasn't been developed yet, but that's where they hope that the security token will trade, and only qualified investors will be able to go on that one, I think. With the digital token, the in-game token, if it's available, like if you can take money from one game and put it into the other, that's like the idea of it, right? Like, is that you use Liquid to transfer money that you earned using game one and put it into game two so you can buy better swords or something. And that's what the digital token is all about, is that you can have this common currency between multiple games and multiple worlds, if you will, and be able to transfer them and making the coin more valuable because you can start new games at an advantage and so on. And it's kind of an interesting idea. He pitched me on it a little bit, and I was like, okay, that kind of makes sense. So to be clear, these are separate things. It's not your typical ICO pump and dump and whatever. This is literally a security. It's like raising an angel round from a bunch of investors, and you get equity in the company. Now you can trade that equity, but you have to make sure you're selling to a qualified investor and so on. And I think this is actually a lot more honest than what a lot of other companies end up doing, which is raise a venture round, and then whoever has equity in the company has little to no liquidity until they're about to IPO or something like that. And this is to make make equity in the company more liquid before that event, and give the investors a little more rights than say typical angel round would.
All right, so you did clear a couple of things up, because like this CoinDesk article basically did a terrible job because they're talking about the STO and they're talking about an in-game digital token, which sounds like a currency, together as one.
Yeah, I think they did a bad job with that. I'm not sure if the author of this article really understood what they were using Liquid for and what and they have to have a separate platform for liquid securities. You can't put the STO onto Liquid because then you have no idea. There's no way to monitor whether or not you're selling it to a qualified investor and so on. And that's required if you're doing it before it goes public, according to securities law. So, that sort of thing is very important. And there's a clear, that's why they're making a different platform, I think, for STOs versus, any other token, which can be on Liquid proper. And that's where the digital token for the game will be, because that way you can transfer it between games and so on.
So
the big thing about video games, though, is that, and the reason why I would hesitate to invest is it's kind of a crapshoot whether or not they're good and whether or not they become popular, unless you happen to be Blizzard or something like that. It's kind of a risk. So that would be why I would be hesitant to invest. But I mean, all these people, I don't think Adam Back's doing anything shady. Or for that reason, Samson Mao or Charlie Lee.
Well, it seems that the digital token is different from the STO, the digital token in-game. And that will supposedly, I guess, drive the economy within the game. And if you buy into the STO and to the equity in the company, you might get a share of the profits in that. I would add to that with ICOs, they're basically illegal securities. And that's why we had this huge crypto winter, or this freeze of ICOs when regulators in the US especially started clamping down on them. STOs is supposed to be the solution, the regulatory compliant solution to ICOs. It's supposed to be legal securities, security token offerings. And so, yeah, that's supposed to have extra regulation, oversight from the the Securities Commission, if this token is indeed created in the US and went through the process of all the FINRA regulations and rules and regulations in the US securities industry. Unclear to me if that's the case. I see that they're going to sell on this platform called Stoker for a public sale. So usually in a private sale, that would probably mean, like you mentioned, qualified institutional investors, quids, and a public sale, though the firm's token in September, I don't know what that entails. So that would be, I think, a huge accomplishment if they're able to do that on this platform, because maybe they have solved liquidity issues, settlement issues that have been a real roadblock for people trying to create STOs, and as well trying to get through the regulations of the SEC. So just adding that.
Yeah, no, it's a big deal if they can do it, and I think this would be. And like I think Samson's right. His quote there: most projects will follow in the future. If this can work, and right now, like if you're raising a round, what you have to do is basically hire all these lawyers and then write all these contracts and do all these complicated things. And it's a lot of paperwork, a lot of work for these lawyers and so on. If you do it in this particular way, I think it'll streamline that process quite a bit and give the investors a lot more rights. And that's a huge thing, because right now, if you're investing in a company, oftentimes you don't get a liquidity event until much later, and who knows if it's going to be there at all. So you're kind of having to put your money in a black hole. I think there would be a lot more investors if you had a little more liquidity earlier on, and that's why I think a platform like Liquid Securities could be a real boon to a company like Blockstream if they can manage to pull it off and have a legally compliant area where you can trade securities and have qualified investors. This is what Barry Silbert's Second Market did for a long time with pre-IPO Facebook shares and so on. Basically, they would make it a lot more automatic and things like that. And that could potentially be a very good thing for everyone involved.
Okay, great. I want to move on because we spent a bit of time on this, but our next story is Ledger Security Bulletin 014. Okay, the summary here is Ledger Nano S and Nano X are hierarchical deterministic wallets, meaning that they can derive different cryptographic secrets from a single seed. As written in the threat model, apps can derive keys on their own HD path only, which ensures that cryptocurrency apps cannot use keys from each other. For instance, the Zcoin app cannot derive keys on the Dogecoin app derivation path, whatever that says, since its own derivation path is m-44/128, sorry. This path restriction was not enforced for the Bitcoin app and most of its derivatives, allowing a Bitcoin derivative, example Litecoin, to derive public keys or sign Bitcoin transactions. Okay, Jimmy, what's going on here?
So basically, Nano S has a vulnerability where, the way the Nano hardware wallets work is that if you want to store Bitcoin on it, you have to install the Bitcoin app on it first. And if you want to store Ripple on it, you have to install the Ripple app on it. If you want to, store Dogecoin, you have to store the Dogecoin app on it. And really, if you designed it properly, what it should be able to do is separate all of them so that the Dogecoin app doesn't have access to your Bitcoin and so on. Except that it turns out that it does. And you can scroll down on which coin apps actually have access to the other ones. So for example, the Litecoin one can access the Bitcoin one and vice versa. But Bitcoin Cash cannot access Bitcoin because the signature format is a little different and so on. And there's a whole list of the different coins and so on. But the key thing, though, if you scroll down, and the big reveal here is that look at remediation. We had to make a choice between security and usability, wanting to avoid a situation where user funds would be locked and users unable to spend their funds anymore. We thus chose to enforce a path lock in the Bitcoin app itself. If a Bitcoin derivative app tries to perform a derivation on an unusual path, a warning is displayed to the user. So basically, because they supported so many other shitcoins, it ended up compromising a little bit of the Bitcoin app security, Bitcoin security. And this is why it's important that these hardware wallet vendors stop pouring so many resources into these altcoins. I mean, I don't know how much time they must have spent on something like Monero, for example, because it's a completely different signature algorithm, completely different hashing algorithm, completely different, elliptic curve. It's not even an elliptic curve. It's a twisted Edwards curve and everything else. So that means that they put all those resources into that instead of something like making multi-sig a lot easier on Bitcoin, right? Like that would actually add value to the vast majority of users that actually own a ledger. Instead, they're pouring their resources into these altcoins, and that in turn is actually like affecting Bitcoin security. So yeah, I don't think this security breach is that big a deal necessarily, but the fact that it's these other apps, these other coins are starting to affect the Bitcoin security on a nano is actually a big deal in the sense that it shouldn't be crossing boundaries like that, and they had to quote unquote for usability so that users wouldn't get pissed off and things like that. When in fact, vast majority of Ledger users are just storing Bitcoin with it.
Hey Tony, you want to add to that?
Sure. This is why we are supporters of Mr. Novak and Cold Card, because this is why he created Cold Card, because he hated all of these other hardware wallets that were wasting their time instead of doing good Bitcoin security. They were wasting their time creating functionality for shitcoins, which eventually won't matter, but they can like totally sync your wallet. I was never really a big fan of the Ledger. I still like the Trezor, but they also support a lot of shitcoins. And I have a lot of respect for wallets that don't, Samurai and Cold Card.
All right. Interesting. Yeah, I do notice that there are a lot of altcoins on the various wallets, and they kind of praise and encourage that. But in this case, not so smart for all altcoins. Going to our next story, rat poison squared on steroids. What's new in Bitcoin's latest Lightning release? So all eyes are on Bitcoin's bullish price at the moment. Behind the scenes, however, developers are tinkering to build the infrastructure that many hope could make the Bitcoin system more accessible to more people. Last week, Bitcoin tech startup Blockstream released its latest major version of C Lightning, its implementation of the Lightning Network. The release is dubbed Rat Poison Squared on steroids, facetiously referencing Warren Buffett's comment that Bitcoin is rat poison squared. And in his opinion, investors will get burned if they put their money into it. Of course, C Lightning's developers probably don't believe Bitcoin is rat poison, seeing as they're working full-time to scale Bitcoin payments. The Lightning Network is pitched as the future of Bitcoin because it ushers in faster and cheaper payments and scales the network so it can support many, many more users than it currently can support without slowing it down. Jimmy, what is your take on this latest release?
Yeah, I mean, the article makes it sound like there's one Lightning client and that's all there is. This is a release of C Lightning, which is the project supported by Blockstream. There are others like, LND, which is by Lightning Labs, Rust Lightning, which is by Square, and several others, which I can't remember at the moment. But yeah, there's a bunch of interesting things there. I think the chief one is multi-path payments. This makes it so that you can use multiple channels to pay the same person. But previously, what you had to do was use a single channel to pay whoever. If you didn't have enough capacity in a single channel, then you couldn't pay. Now you can combine multiple channels to pay. Now that's more of a technical thing, not necessarily something that you would notice unless you were trying to do it. But it makes for a better user experience, I think, because you might have a total capacity of like 1 Bitcoin, but they're split up into 0.3, 0.3, 0.4. And if you try to send a payment for half a Bitcoin, previously it wouldn't let you do it. Now with multi-path payments, you can use like the 0.3 and 0.3 to combine and pay 0.5 total to the target. So I think it's a very good release. I don't like the tone of the article because it makes it sound like there's only one Lightning implementation, but that's about
it. Well, you don't like the tone of the article, and I don't like the title of the article. Like when I saw that on CoinDesk, I'm like, what the hell is this? And it sounds like Blockstream like named it that way or like referred to it that way on purpose. So this is the second time in one show I'm being critical of Blockstream and Adam Back. So there goes Toad as a Blockstream shill. So I thought that wasn't good. But other than that, look, I'm glad that a lot of work is continuing to be done on Lightning. I'm still getting a lot of people that keep texting that Lightning has failed, which is hilarious. Like most people just don't use Lightning yet because they don't need to. Though I'm starting to pay a lot higher fees, so I need to get my Lightning game in order here. But I'm just waiting for all of these things to be in there. I'm waiting for it to be more production ready. I'm waiting for it to be more seamless. I'm waiting for, I guess it's a little bit of the tragedy of the commons where I'm waiting for more people to be using Lightning before I start using Lightning. But it'll come. More and more people will start using it, including myself. And eventually we'll get the Understanding Bitcoin podcast going. And we'll be teaching people how to use it. I'm personally not in a huge rush, but maybe I should be.
Okay, and I'll just mention a couple of things that are in this update. MPP sending for more reliable payments. Multi-part payments are one feature that will improve the Lightning Network's user experience. Sometimes payments fail when the software can't find a path to the user. This especially is likely to occur when payments are bigger. MPP effectively splits payments into smaller pieces so they're easier to send across the network, making payments more reliable. There's Watchtowers Fight Fraud. Watchtowers is a fraud fighting component of the Lightning Network that is early on in its creation. And coin tracking for taxes. C Lightning has laid out the groundwork for a tool to track all of a user's coin movements. This could come in handy for anyone worried about tracking their Lightning coins come tax season, and a couple of other changes. Unless you guys have anything else, I just want to quickly mention this tweet from Kevin Rook. Square did $875 million of Bitcoin revenue during the second quarter of this year. That's almost 3 times the volume of the first quarter and 25 times more than the first quarter of 2018 when Bitcoin buying went live on the Cash app. Wow, guys, what's your take on this, Tone?
Yeah, this is why Square's stock has gone up like 10x since the March lows. They've been doing very well. And they charge close to 2%, I believe. So they made about 17, 18 million on that 875 million in sales of Bitcoin. This is great. You can definitely cut into that profit. Square is very popular, but if they're charging almost 2%, there's definitely room to get in the middle of that. I don't want to pitch a competitor here, but I have a referral with LVL where you can buy it cheaper, and they're available in like half the country, and they're trying to get more states going. And I believe they charge less of a premium on your Bitcoin sales. So if you want to buy it a little bit cheaper, check out LVL. Feel free to use the Tone Vays referral on the affiliate page of my site. But this is great. It actually makes me more bullish, obviously, in Bitcoin. I don't think the price is going to take any major dips down. And more and more people are getting interested. There was that other tweet. I know I commented on it. That guy who made a video about having the Winklevoss twins help him understand Bitcoin and where to store it. I don't know if you saw that, Jimmy.
Yeah, I did. It was hilarious.
Yeah. So, and you know what I didn't want to tweet that out, but when I was watching that tweet, I'm sure everyone that's watching this right now has seen it. The guy is our age and clearly successful, clearly understands technology, made that video and it was clearly edited. And he's he's very frustrated that he doesn't understand how to use Bitcoin because he hasn't even tried to figure it out yet. And then people are out there screaming, how is grandma going to use Bitcoin? And I'm like, how are tech entrepreneurs going to use Bitcoin? Forget grandma, right? Clearly, we have a bigger problem here because people don't want to take the time to figure something out. Many of us figured out, 5 or 6 years ago, and it's not rocket science. Like, I understand why it would be rocket science for my parents, but I'm sorry, if you're in your early 40s and you've been a successful tech entrepreneur, you should be able to figure it out. It's not that hard. Honestly, I think that using email, when I started using email, was harder because I had to use Unix commands. So I really don't think it's all that complicated to just, start using Bitcoin. You don't have to run your own node right away. So this is a little disappointing that, the guy is making like a big show, potentially wasting the Winklevoss twins' time, because this should be something he can figure out. I think he can pull that off. I did look him up. He did get a degree in education, not tech. But still, you should be able to figure this out.
Jimmy, you want to add anything before we go to the mempool?
Yeah, so if you go back to the previous one with the Square Cash App and everything else. Okay, so think about this. This is where users can go and buy Bitcoin, right? And it's been going parabolic. And every exchange where you can go buy Bitcoin is very, very popular, and they've all made money. Now, on the other side, if you're a merchant and you're taking Bitcoin, essentially giving people a place to sell their Bitcoin, you're not doing very much business. What does that indicate? That indicates that most people are using Bitcoin as a store of value, and that they don't really care about the method of payment aspect of it. They don't need to pay for coffee. Square is making 875, or they did 875 million in sales just on Bitcoin using that app, their app. And this is just one app, right? I doubt that there's any, if you combine all the merchants in, since the beginning of Bitcoin, I don't think that adds up to $875 million worth of sales in coffee or anything else for that matter. That's just not a very big market for Bitcoin. The big thing is store of value. Now, as far as Stool Presidente, he's the main guy at Barstool Sports. I have a slightly different take on that guy. I think basically he wants to make a video, and it's not necessarily that he doesn't understand Bitcoin or that he's wasting the Winklevoss twins' time. What he's doing is more to put Bitcoin more in the spotlight because he thinks it's interesting, and I think this is his way of getting their attention. He's actually really funny if you've watched any of his videos. He does a lot of different crazy stunts, and he's from a pop culture perspective very popular among millennials, and this is very much on note for what his brand.
Wait, yeah. Jimmy, I'm gonna push back on this a little bit. I see your point, but it doesn't sound like he wants to put Bitcoin in the spotlight. It sounds like he wants to put himself in the spotlight to Bitcoiners.
Yeah, possibly, but he's also got a large audience, so he's going. It's going to get out to them regardless.
I mean, I didn't know who he was. I never heard of him before.
Oh, there's some legendary videos of him on YouTube. You can go look him up. He's. I'm
sure I can.
He's really funny.
I've never heard of him before this morning, so I really don't see this as him trying to help Bitcoin. I see it as him more trying to obviously get a bigger audience, which a lot of us on YouTube would like. I would love a bigger audience as well. I'm still trying to break 100,000 followers. Probably if I was nicer to this guy, it would have happened by now. But
well, so I think I'm going to guess he's in the millions, and it's the equivalent of like when Mark Cuban tweets out about like Bitcoin or something like that. I think, and like this is somebody that actually understands, or that's actually really popular. And I mean, if Joe Rogan had Antonopoulos on his show a while back, it's not quite to that level, but it's not that far off either.
I like Lop's answer. You can't afford my Bitcoin. That's actually true. But look, and that's the thing, right? Like, I understand if Mark Cuban actually like said something like that, because Mark Cuban is a very busy guy with everything that Mark Cuban does. Look, I'm sure this guy is really busy as well, but if his job as a YouTuber, he's got time to figure it out. So yeah, I see it more as gain. Hey, Now everyone heard of you, which is great. Hey, if you want to promote Bitcoin after the Winklevoss teach it to him, hey, I get it. It'll help Bitcoin in the long run, but that's certainly not how it starts off.
Well, I can tell you he's been on a lot of different things, and his YouTube videos get millions of views. So like it's not he's not some nobody. He's been on everything. Like
no. He's obviously not a nobody. Never said that. I mean, he is a popular guy. I mean, it was obvious from how his tweet was received. So that's very clear. I'm just saying, like, he's making Bitcoin out way more complicated than it is with that video. Now, I understand if he was like 80, that would make total sense, but he's not. And
but that's kind of his brand, though. Like he kind of pretends to not understand things, and he does crazy stuff, and that he needs to kind of. He plays the fool, if you will, in a lot of his videos in order to sort of get people to, trigger the right people and get them saying, actually, you got this wrong. It's like, dude, I know, I'm just kind of making a video, that sort of thing. So you got to watch his videos to kind of know that he knows what he's doing. Let's just put it that way. And that video was made as a way to get a reaction from the Winklevoss, which was successful, and he's very good at it, which is why he's going to get some views and get some mileage out of this thing. And I think it could work out for everybody.
Yeah, I'm not sure it was so much as a way to reach out to a Bitcoin audience as much as it was as a way to elicit a response from Winklevoss or whatever. He did mention he had kind of a fascination with some history channel thing they hosted or something or other and the social network. So he got what he wanted. He got a response from Tyler. Nevertheless, moving on, let's take a look at the mempool. And Jimmy, what's your take on what's going on with the transactions?
Yeah, so I told you before the weekend that don't worry about all the spikes and everything, that it would calm down over the weekend. And what happened over the weekend? It calmed down, right? Like 2 Satoshi per byte transactions were clearing. You couldn't quite get to the 1 Satoshi, but I mean, that's what I told you. Like, if you want it done over the weekend, you can put in like 4 or 5 and you'd be fine. And in fact, you were. They cleared on the 2nd, which was Sunday. Monday, it started to go up again, and you can see that the giant pool of 1 Satoshi per byte transaction still sits in the mempool. But for the most part, it's sort of normal going, during the workday. It's starting to taper off now because the workday in the Pacific, Pacific time zone is coming to a close. So, I mean, right now, if you want to get in at the moment, you're going to have to pay 20 to 30. If you can wait like an hour, you could probably get in for 5 to 6, and if you want overnight, you can get in for 2. That's my analysis of what's going on.
Great, and we want everyone to take a look at Jimmy's book, Programming Bitcoin: Learn How to Program the Bitcoin Library, with this hands-on guide from one of the leading teachers on Bitcoin and Bitcoin programming. Author Jimmy Song shows you the basics, including the math, blocks, network, and transactions behind this popular cryptocurrency and its blockchain payment system. You'll also learn how simplified payment verification and how proof of work works. Learn how to program Bitcoin from scratch with Programming Bitcoin by Jimmy Song. Thank you very much, Jimmy. With that, we're going to go over to price analysis with Tone Vays, but I also want to show you this question from our viewers. Hey, Tone, I know this is off topic, but if you think the Apple split is going to be a bullish event for the stock, that's a question out there for you, Tone.
Sure. Can you guys see my screen share? Because last time that was a problem.
We can see it.
We can see it.
Okay. Hey, Christine, you mind taking a look at what that app? Can you just Google what the Apple split is going to be? I haven't really paid attention.
Yep.
Like when and what is it splitting into? Is it like 3 for 1, 4 for 1? Like, what are they doing? because I don't know the details. Hey guys, I mentioned
Apple,
earlier.
It's a 4-for-1 split, and it looks like it's going to happen on August 24th.
August 20th, so end of the month, 4-for-1. Okay, I'll take a look at the chart in a minute. So I mentioned LVL earlier, guys, $9 a month or $10 a month. I'm not sure if they raised it. And that gives you unlimited trading. And you can go ahead and buy as much Bitcoin as you like at a lower fee than Square. So there you go. So go ahead and check that out. Now let's go. Let's take a look at Bitcoin, and then I'll close up on Apple. Let's go to the weekly chart. I was a little bit concerned for the price this morning. I may be flip-flopping a lot here, bullish versus bearish on Bitcoin over the next few days to a week, because it's in a very weird spot. And where the volatility has gone away again. We had our little pump, and right now we did not close the week at a significant high. We pulled back on Sunday night, closing closer to 11,000. We are still stuck in that zone right now. I still want to see us make a new multi-year weekly high, and we need to close closer to 12,000 for that than 11,000. That will actually make me bullish once again. The daily scale, we broke out of this little triangle that I had. Once this chart pulls up. All right, come on. What's going on?
Your computer sucks.
It's coming. It's the storm. It's the hurricane. That's what it is.
There we go.
I think it's, I'll bet you anything it's Prezi. But yeah.
It's my Prezi tabs. Oh man, so Prezi, let me not complain. So Prezi is taking away Prezi Classic, which is where all my presentations are. And
Are you serious?
Beta.
They're gonna take them away?
So they have another one. They have like, it's called Prezi Next, and they're like,
yeah, I hate that one though.
Good. And I was like beta testing it last night, and I'm like, oh God. I just kept like messaging them like all my complaints about it. So I don't know where I'm gonna do my presentations going forward, but it's so frustrating. But yeah, Prezi Classic is gone because it uses Java, and I think they're losing that. I don't know. It's just
it's Adobe Flash, but yeah.
Or Adobe Flash. One of those things is going away, and yeah. So the old Prezi was great. So I really don't like this look. The daily chart doesn't really show anything, but the 4-hour chart does. So I have these two lines, and as long as we're stuck between these two lines, I'm neither going to be bullish nor bearish. Anytime we get close to the red, I get bearish. Anytime we get close to the green, I get bullish. So this is not a great look for Bitcoin to me. And if we go below 10,900 and close there, even on a 4-hour basis, I think Bitcoin is in for a serious pullback. But at the same time, gold just made a brand new all-time high. I think we got to like 2020 or something, 2035 right now. So it's still rising. And I do think gold is getting ready to top. Gold's really interesting. So on a weekly scale, gold is set to top next week. On a monthly scale, it is set to top next month, according to the MRI indicator that I use. And on a daily scale, it's also set to top probably later this week or next week. So let me see when it loads. Yeah, so early next week, it's set to top. So next week is going to be very critical for gold. And the higher it goes into next week, the more likely it is to top there. So it would be interesting if gold makes it to like 2,100 by Monday, Tuesday. That's pretty much going to be a pretty critical top for gold. So Bitcoin can still go up because money seems to be flowing into these speculative assets. In the meantime, S&P 500 continues to push higher. Thank you for that little update in the beginning of the stream, Christine, when you mentioned the markets. It's probably a good idea going forward. So the S&P is hanging in there. That's unfortunately just a 10-minute chart. But if I go to the daily chart on the futures, once again, I believe we just made another new high, and we did. So once again, another day, another high. And we are almost at new all-time highs in the stock market, which is insane considering no one is working. Well, some people are working, we're working, but half the country isn't. So I don't know. Bitcoin can still pump. So I'm completely neutral on Bitcoin. I sold half my GBTC stack. I'm not selling the other half yet. I'd rather buy the dip. But if we break out, I'll buy the breakout. So I'm just waiting on Bitcoin to go one way or another.
Interesting. Yeah, well, we do see the Fed saying that they're buying, bond buying programs, pumping into ETFs. They want to stabilize the market. So that's also helping where your trillions of dollars are going. Anything else you want to add there, Jimmy? Actually, no, we're going to call it net there. Thank you so much.
I could tell you something about price, but
yeah.
I don't know if you guys could take
right.
that level of technical analysis.
All right, so thank you very much, Tone, our Bitcoin trader, consultant and educator, as well as Jimmy Song, author of Programming Bitcoin. He gives us the down low on all things tech happening in the world of cryptocurrencies. And I'm Christine, your host and journalist in New York. Thanks very much for joining us on Tuesday, August 4th on this edition of Bitcoin Brief.
Thank you, guys.
Fiat delenda est. This song is done.